Chances are, if you live in the US in a large or medium sized metro area, you've seen one of these pop up in your city. Maybe even more than one. Their names can range from market hall to common market to marketplace, even some rather creative names. But most of the time, they're called exactly what they are: food halls, a collection of hallways lined with artisan food vendors. Now, they're not all hallways. Some can even take an open concept shape, like the Tustin Mess Hall Market in California or the Hue in New York City. If you've been to one of these newer food halls in the last 3 to 5 years, you get the appeal. There's a sense of community and camaraderie to them, a sort of third place vibe, where you'll often find people on their computers, working, dining, and even just hanging out. Who would have thought the new hangout place of the 21st century would be a glorified mall food court? But food halls are much different, and in my opinion, much better. They're the perfect third place. I would know. I've been to nearly 20 of them in the past 2 years alone. And there's a good reason food halls are popping up everywhere. It's because people love them, and the demand is huge. One study suggests that the food hall market will grow to $71.68 billion by 2026. Whenever I'm visiting a new city, one of my favorite things to do is find food halls. All around, they're amazing. Not only do they offer patrons a variety of local and artisan dining choices all under one roof, they're great for businesses too, and for the community all around. And once I'm done making my case for them, maybe you'll appreciate them just that much more, and find any near you. Although you've noticed them seemingly pop out of nowhere in the last 5 years, food halls are not a new concept. The idea of a food hall style cafeteria originated in Chicago in 1890, when the entrepreneur John Kruger adapted the smorgasbord restaurants of Chicago's large Scandinavian population into one cafeteria. And that's what a food hall really is. It's a school cafeteria for adults, a communal place to meet, eat, and hang out. Nowadays, Chicago is home to 12 food halls, and counting. Before 1890s Chicago, Boston's Quincy Market had been operating a similar concept, having hosted spaces for food merchants since 1742, and up until the present day. However, nowadays, Quincy Market would better be categorized as a public market. More on that distinction later. Admittedly, a major draw to these new modern food halls is just that. They're modern, often in up-and-coming parts of a city looking to capitalize on visits from out-of-towners and tourists. This is because food halls can act as an attraction themselves, mostly being developed centered around other places of business. Typically, you won't find a food hall in the middle of nowhere. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Building new business in urban areas for people to congregate is great, and their sleek, modern designs are far from the only thing attracting patrons. No one's saying New York City, Seattle, and LA are the only cities allowed to have food halls. Milwaukee, Kansas City, St. Louis, they're all investing in food halls because they know how important they are to cities. And more to the point of why people keep coming back. One of the biggest draws to food halls is speed. Look, it's got food in the name. You're coming here to eat, and vendors know that. Given their limited space, vendors streamline their menu to showcase the best of what they have, and 9 out of 10 times serve you a great meal in less than 5 minutes. No need to wait for a server to bring your food, drink, and check. Oftentimes you get it yourself when your name is called or your buzzer rings. A decent meal with no waiter means less pressure to tip, which is beneficial because one of the biggest drawbacks of food halls is their high prices and high cost. Typically, food halls are comprised of small local food vendors who apply to get that coveted 200 square feet of kitchen space to serve the community and grow their businesses. More often than not, this means you'll be getting a taste of the best, the vendors who beat out all the others, which means consistently good food. There's something about food halls that are so consistent. And for vendors, there's low overhead, less chefs in the kitchen, less brick and mortar bills, and food truck turned food hall businesses don't have to worry about the maintenance and cost of a truck. Everyone goes home happy. And one of my favorite parts of food halls is that they're not all in new, modern buildings. They take many shapes, including adaptive reuse. If you're unfamiliar with the term, adaptive reuse is the process of reusing an old site or building for a purpose other than which it was built or designed for, like the Anaheim Packing House in California, a building which is on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places, and was used starting in 1919 as a Sunkist citrus packing house. Long gone are the days where boring white walls of Panda Express and Sbarro make up the ideal setting for the perfect third place. Food halls have the reins now. Whether you want to experience a flavor you've never tried before or pick up a game of ping pong, food halls are the place to be. Food halls are similar but different than their sister place, public markets. So what's the difference between a food hall and a public market? Well, honestly, the lines have become more blurred in recent years. See, traditionally, public markets are much larger, offering a wide range of artisan provisions, clothing, and fresh food. It's a concept as old as time, dating back thousands of years BCE in the Middle East, Mediterranean, and Europe. But nowadays, with the rise of food halls, it's become more confusing. Take Liberty Public Market in San Diego. It contains 37 vendors, with 31 offering strictly food items, and 6 offering anything and everything from soap, necklaces, apparel, to even haircutting services. This is a public market. It has more than food, even though it has a lot of it. To me, for something to call itself a food hall, it has to be serving just food, hence the name. Of course, there are outliers such as Citizen Public Market in Culver City, California, which has just under 10 vendors, all food, but calls itself a public market. But these outliers are few and far between. Usually, if you're selling more than food, you're a public market, and if you're selling just food, you're a food hall. I love public markets and can't wait to talk more about them in a future video. That video is in the works, so be sure to leave a comment letting know what you think of the video and what your favorite food hall is. I'd appreciate the recommendations. Mine is the Little Italy Food Hall in San Diego. Don't forget to leave a like for the algorithm and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos from town, city, state.